I'm Ava, 26F, and I recently caused some major drama at my dad Mark's, 52M, wedding to my stepmother Rachel, 48F. This is a long and complicated story, so bear with me. My mom passed away when I was 8 years old after a long battle with cancer. It was devastating for both me and my dad. For years, it was just the two of us trying to navigate life without her. We became incredibly close during that time. My dad threw himself into his work and raising me, often working long hours to provide for us, but always making sure to be there for my important moments. I have vivid memories of him learning to braid my hair for school, burning countless dinners as he tried to master cooking, and staying up late to help me with science fair projects. He was determined to be both mom and dad to me, and for the most part, he succeeded. We had our struggles, but we always had each other's backs. When I was 17, my dad met Rachel through work. She was a new marketing executive at his company. They started dating about 6 months later. At first, I was cautiously happy for my dad. He seemed lighter, more carefree than he had been in years. But as time went on, I started to get a bad feeling about Rachel. She was always very cold towards me when my dad wasn't around. She would make little digs about how I wasn't really part of their new family. Once, when I was home from college for the summer, I overheard her telling my dad that maybe it was time for me to get my own place so they could start their life together properly. When I confronted her about it, she denied ever saying it and accused me of eavesdropping. Whenever I tried to talk to my dad about Rachel's behavior, she would twist things around to make it seem like I was just being a jealous, difficult daughter. She'd cry and tell my dad how hard she was trying to bond with me, but that I kept pushing her away. It was infuriating because it wasn't true at all. My relationship with my dad became more strained over the years as Rachel drove a wedge between us. She would tell my dad that I was disrespectful to her when he wasn't around. She claimed I was ungrateful for all she did for our family. None of it was true, but my dad always took her side. I remember one particularly hurtful incident when I was 21. I had planned a special father-daughter camping trip for my dad's birthday, just like we used to do when I was little. I spent months planning it, saving up for new camping gear, and even taking time off work. 2 days before we were supposed to leave, Rachel surprised my dad with tickets to a luxury spa weekend. When I got upset, she accused me of being selfish and trying to monopolize my dad's time. My dad ended up going to the spa with her, and our camping trip never happened. Things came to a head about 2 months ago. Rachel accused me of stealing an expensive diamond necklace from her jewelry box. I was shocked. I would never do something like that. But Rachel put on a big show of being devastated that I would betray her trust. She cried about how the necklace was a family heirloom from her grandmother. My dad was furious with me. He said he was ashamed of my behavior and that I needed to apologize and return the necklace immediately. I tried to explain that I hadn't taken anything, but neither of them would listen. Rachel kept dramatically sobbing about how hurt she was. My dad told me to get out of his house and not come back until I was ready to admit what I'd done and make amends. I was crushed. I couldn't believe my own father would believe Rachel over me without any proof. For the next couple months, I had no contact with my dad or Rachel. I was hurt and angry that my dad had chosen Rachel over me. I threw myself into my work as a distraction, often staying at the office until late at night because I couldn't stand the silence of my empty apartment. My friends tried to cheer me up, but I felt like I had lost the only real family I had left. Meanwhile, they went ahead with planning their wedding. I wasn't invited, of course. I heard through mutual friends that it was going to be a lavish affair at an expensive vineyard. Apparently, Rachel had insisted on sparing no expense, even though my dad had always been more frugal. It hurt to think of him celebrating without me there. The day before the wedding, I got an unexpected visitor, my stepsister Emma, 17F. Emma is Rachel's daughter from a previous relationship. We've never been particularly close, but we've always been cordial to each other. Rachel had Emma when she was very young and raised her as a single mom for many years before meeting my dad. Emma looked really upset when she showed up at my apartment. Her eyes were red and puffy like she'd been crying. She told me she had overheard Rachel on the phone with someone, talking about how she had planted the necklace in my bag to frame me. Apparently, Rachel wanted me out of the picture so she could have my dad all to herself. Emma felt guilty for not saying anything sooner, but she had been afraid of her mom's reaction. She told me that Rachel had always been manipulative and controlling, but it had gotten worse since she started dating my dad. Emma said she couldn't stand by and watch Rachel tear our family apart any longer. I was furious when I heard this. Not only had Rachel framed me, but she had manipulated my dad into cutting me out of his life. All those years of little digs and passive-aggressive comments suddenly made sense. Rachel had been playing the long game, slowly isolating my dad from me. Emma begged me to come to the wedding and expose what Rachel had done. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't want to cause a scene or hurt my dad any more than he'd already been hurt. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt like my dad deserved to know the truth before he married this woman. The next day, I showed up at the wedding venue with Emma just as the ceremony was about to start. There were gasps from the guests when they saw me there in jeans and a t-shirt, a stark contrast to the sea of fancy dresses and suits. Rachel's face turned white when she spotted me walking down the aisle. I marched right up to the altar where my dad and Rachel were standing. My dad looked shocked to see me there. Before he could say anything, I told him everything. How Rachel had framed me for stealing the necklace, how she had been manipulating him for years, and how Emma had overheard her admitting to it all on the phone. Rachel started screeching that I was lying, but Emma stepped up and confirmed my story. She even had a recording on her phone of Rachel's incriminating phone call. My dad looked shell-shocked as he listened to the recording of Rachel laughing about how easy it had been to frame me. The wedding guests were all murmuring in shock. Rachel's family looked mortified. My dad's face was bright red. Whether from anger or embarrassment, I couldn't tell. He turned to Rachel and asked her if it was true. She burst into tears and started making excuses, but it was clear she had been caught. My dad called off the wedding on the spot. Rachel ran out of the venue sobbing dramatically, her white dress trailing behind her. The guests were all gossiping excitedly. My dad just stood there looking devastated and humiliated. I felt a little bad for ruining his wedding day, but I also felt like he needed to know the truth before making a huge mistake. Emma thanked me for exposing her mom's lies. She said she was glad she wouldn't have to live with Rachel's manipulation anymore. It's been a week since the wedding disaster. My dad still hasn't reached out to me. I'm not sure if he's angry at me for how I handled things or if he's just processing everything that happened. Part of me feels guilty for humiliating him publicly like that, but another part of me feels like he deserved to face the consequences of choosing Rachel over me all these years. So Reddit, AIT for exposing my stepmother's lies and affair at my dad's wedding? Should I have found a less dramatic way to tell my dad the truth? I'm conflicted about how I handled things. Up.1. It's been about a month since the wedding fiasco, and I wanted to give an update on the situation. My dad finally reached out to me last week. He asked if we could meet up for coffee to talk things over. I was nervous but agreed to see him. We met at a small cafe near my apartment, neutral ground for both of us. When I saw my dad, I was shocked by his appearance. He looked like he had aged years in just a month. There were dark circles under his eyes and his clothes hung loosely on his frame, like he had lost a significant amount of weight. He started off by apologizing profusely for not believing me about Rachel. He said he felt like a complete idiot for falling for her manipulation for so long. Apparently after the wedding, he did some digging and uncovered even more of Rachel's lies. She had been cheating on him with multiple men throughout their relationship. She had also been stealing money from his accounts and running up credit card debt in his name. He discovered she had a gambling addiction and had been using his money to fund it. My dad broke down crying as he told me all of this. It was unsettling to see him so vulnerable. He said he was ashamed that he had chosen Rachel over his own daughter. He begged for my forgiveness and asked if we could try to repair our relationship. Part of me wanted to forgive him right away. Seeing my strong, stoic dad so broken was hard, but another part of me was still angry about how easily he had discarded me. I told him I appreciated his apology, but that I needed time to process everything before I could consider reconciling. We talked for a couple hours, catching up on everything that had happened over the past few months. By the end, things felt a little less tense between us. We agreed to keep in touch and take things slow as we try to rebuild our bond. As for Rachel, she apparently left town shortly after the wedding. No one has heard from her since. My dad said he's working with his lawyer to untangle their finances and protect himself from any more of her schemes. He's also pressing charges for the theft and fraud. Emma has been staying with me since the wedding. She doesn't want anything to do with her mom right now. We've actually grown quite close over the past month. It's nice having a sister to talk to and hang out with. Emma told me more details about life with Rachel over the years. Apparently, Rachel was just as manipulative and emotionally abusive towards Emma as she was towards me. She would constantly put Emma down, criticize her appearance, and compare her unfavorably to other girls her age. Emma said she always felt like she was walking on eggshells around her mom. One particularly horrifying story Emma shared was about her 16th birthday last year. Rachel had promised to throw her a big party with all her friends. Emma was so excited, she spent weeks planning it. The day of the party, Rachel announced she was taking a last-minute trip to Vegas with her friends. She left Emma alone with no party and no explanation. When Emma tried to confront her about it later, Rachel gaslighted her and claimed they had never discussed a party at all. I feel awful that Emma had to deal with that toxic environment for so long. I've been trying my best to boost her confidence and show her what a healthy, supportive relationship looks like. She's really blossomed over the past month away from Rachel's influence. My dad has expressed interest in reconnecting with Emma as well. He feels guilty that he didn't notice how Rachel was treating her. Emma is hesitant but open to the idea of getting to know my dad better. They've had a few phone calls that seem to have gone well. Overall, I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of our little makeshift family. It will take time to heal all the wounds, but I think we're on the right path. I'm proud of myself for standing up to Rachel's lies, even if my methods were a bit dramatic. Sometimes the truth needs to come out, no matter how messy it might be. Update 2. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and a lot has changed in that time. My relationship with my dad has slowly but steadily improved. We've been meeting up regularly for coffee or dinner to talk things through. He's been going to therapy to work on his issues and has made a lot of progress in understanding how he allowed Rachel to manipulate him for so long. I've opened up to him about how hurt I was by his actions over the years. It hasn't been easy, but I think getting everything out in the open has been healing for both of us. We're not back to where we were before Rachel came into the picture, but I can see us getting there eventually. Last week, we finally went on that camping trip I had planned years ago. It was bittersweet, but also cathartic. We spent hours talking around the campfire, reminiscing about Mom and the good times we had as a family. For the first time in years, I felt like I had my dad back. Emma is still living with me and thriving. She's really come out of her shell these past few months. She joined the school drama club and landed the lead in the spring play. Seeing her confidence grow has been amazing. She's even started talking about college plans, something Rachel had always discouraged. We had a bit of drama last month when Rachel suddenly reappeared. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, demanding to see Emma. She was clearly drunk and became belligerent when I refused to let her in. Rachel started screaming about how we had ruined her life and stolen her family. She threatened to sue for custody of Emma and take her away where we'd never find her. Emma was terrified, hiding in her room while Rachel pounded on the door. I ended up having to call the police to remove Rachel from the property. It was a scary situation, but I'm glad I stood my ground and protected Emma. The officers who responded were very understanding and helped us file a report. Emma was really shaken up by the whole incident. She had nightmares for days afterwards. We've since filed for a restraining order against Rachel to keep her away from both of us. The court hearing is next month, and I'm nervous but hopeful that it will be granted. My dad was furious when he heard about Rachel's antics. He's been looking into legal options to protect Emma from Rachel's potential attempts to regain custody. Emma has made it clear she wants nothing to do with her mother, but we want to make sure all our bases are covered legally. On a brighter note, Emma and I have officially started the process for me to become her legal guardian. It's a big step, but one we're both excited about. Emma says she finally feels like she has a real family with me. The day she asked me if she could call me her sister instead of her stepsister, I cried happy tears. My dad has been supportive of the guardianship process. He's offered to help out financially to make sure Emma has everything she needs. It's nice to see him stepping up and trying to make amends. He's been spending more time with Emma too, taking her to movies and helping her with her college applications. There have been some challenging moments as we all adjust to our new family dynamic. Emma struggled with some abandonment issues after Rachel's reappearance. My dad and I still have moments of tension when old hurts resurface, but we're all committed to making this work and supporting each other. Looking back, I don't regret exposing Rachel's lies at the wedding. As dramatic as it was, it needed to happen. Who knows how much more damage she could have done if she'd actually married my dad. I hate that my dad and Emma had to go through so much pain, but I believe we're all stronger for having weathered this storm together. I'm proud of how far we've all come in just a few months. There's still work to be done, but I'm hopeful about the future. We're taking it one day at a time, focusing on healing and rebuilding trust. It's not always easy, but it's worth it to have my family back.